Do you think any other villains get teased in this movie, whether it's Norman, whether it's anybody, whether it's even teasing more Sinister Six? Because to me, that's the reason Mysterio doesn't die. I think they are leading towards the Sinister Six. I think it's a huge mistake if they don't. I think we literally will wait till Spider-Man 6, and that's the best marketing thing called Spider-Man 6, like Sinister 6. That's all I got to do. I've been on record. I'm a fan of the Sinister Six team and the people in it. I'm not a fan of the team taking on Spider-Man alone. I've never liked that. I just don't like the fact that if Vulture and Mysterio all team up and Spider-Man had such a problem with them and then the six of them can beat him, I've never liked that. So I kind of hope if that happens, he gets some buddies in the Sinister Six.
What if they beat him? What if they beat Spider-Man? It's just
then
the
that's
end
cool.
of the series.
Maybe that's how they kill him, and that's
so
how they bring
dark.
in Miles. That'd be great.
That would be
because
interesting.
I've always been fine with Sinister Six if he brings in the Avengers, but I'm not a big Sinister. I'm not a fan of that idea of one hero versus villains. But I think that's why Mysterio will live. They're going to keep all these people alive. Maybe Shocker will be in it, but I kind of hope not. Because right now we got Vulture.
I'm not a fan of that Shocker.
Yeah, right now we got Vulture and then Mysterio, and then there is Scorpion. We haven't seen his suit, but he is in Homecoming.
He's in that post-credit scene. Right?
He had the tattoo.
Yeah, he had the
That's all
tattoo.
you need.
Yeah, that's one of the most unfuggy things. Just like let's put a scorpion on his neck. That's a Sony call. But do we
really
get
on the nose.
any other villains teased? Do we see anybody? Also, we got post credits kicking around.
Yeah.
Maybe check out our fan cast. We cast some villains. We cast like Kraven, Norman. But
Mm-hmm.
what are we thinking?
Yeah, I don't. There's two paths they can do because, like, not only is this, you got to think of this as more than just a Spider-Man movie because it's also closing out this entire Infinity Saga, right? This is like the epilogue, essentially. So there's two ways they can do it. One, they could just like button up and like that's the end. There's nothing teased going forward. I mean, I don't think that's going to be the case for Spider-Man in general. Obviously, we're talking about Insidious 6. Like, I think that's going to pop up at some point. But yeah, they could also go the route of like try and set up something else, whether or not it's just a Spidey future storyline or that's something that leads into like the next Avengers, which I could see Spidey being part of down the line.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess, I think there will be something like some post-credit scene that is looking forward. I just think that's how they're doing all of these things. Like even though this saga's done, like they're not done, right? Like they're still going to be going on for years and years. So I think you keep the hype rolling, especially if we're not getting a movie until. I guess the next movie is like next February or something. We don't know yet.
Next, I think it's May or March. It's untitled, but we all know it's Black Widow.
Yeah.
But it's not until like March, April 2020. So it's a while.
Yeah, that November slot is empty this year. So I think they want to like keep the hype up, and I think a post-credit scene like looking forward is a good way to do that. Possibly. I mean, at the same token, they could be thinking, okay, Comic-Con's just coming up right after. Let's just have all our stuff there. We look forward and just leave this saga as it is. So I don't know. This one really could go either way. There's ways to justify it both ways. I'm gonna predict there is something looking forward in form of like Green Goblin, Norman, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it's just like even if we don't see a character or an actor, just like a hint of what it could be, kind of like
Gets an email from Oscorp.
yeah.
You want a job?
I was gonna say like Captain Marvel and Infinity War because if you weren't like a comic person, you wouldn't know what that was.
Yeah.
But it's clearly something, even though it doesn't show an actor's face or something.
Yeah.
So something along those lines, possibly.
And I didn't ask this. We didn't even talk about this fan draft because we did a lot of characters. If you could pick one villain for the next movie, who would you pick? If I says Dylan, you get to pick any Spider-Man villain. That's a villain. And you two are getting that.
I feel like Green Goblin or Hobgoblin. I would say probably Hobgoblin because I think Green Goblin would be cool if he was in the universe like as Norman for a while. And I think I want to like see some of Harry as well. Like I want to see like some sort of. I want to get that build up to
yeah,
it. Exactly. Kind of like how it was in like the other Spider-Man movies. I guess it didn't take multiple movies to do it, but you still got this time where Harry and Peter are like friends before there's like some big fallout. So I think Hobgoblin would be a good one. The other one, this is like a low-key pick, would be the Spot. He was in like one episode of the animated series, and I fucking loved him. He's just such a goofy character. I love his look. And he, from what I remember, he was like related to Stark in some way. I can't remember exactly what the storyline was.
Screwed him over.
Yeah, so that could be kind of fun if like,
The Spot.
obviously they're really close, Peter and Stark, so that could be a fun dynamic there.
Bring
But
Downey
he was
for a
just,
flashback.
yeah, I just love that character so much. So I'd like to see him or the Goblins.
Mm-hmm.
The Goblins.
What did you ask before you asked that question?
So was any other villains actually teased like your prediction?
Yeah.
And then the second one is who would you want for 3?
I agree with Dylan. I think they'll probably tease it something at the end, like in
Post-credits.
yeah, post-credit scene. The one worry I have is if they do something like Shocker where they bring in like a villain and it's just such a minor character like what he had in Homecoming where it's just like he wasn't really like big into it and then they just like killed him off. I know he's not killed off, but like
in jail somewhere.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And he's just such like a disappointing for what like I don't know the fans have seen of that character. Like he's not a big time villain, but
Would
he's
they
at
do
least,
that if they chose a villain for the post credits? So I think if they chose a post credit one, that'd probably be a bigger one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would hope.
I know.
Yeah.
Shocker's more goon.
Yeah, for sure. But
I'm coming back, Spider-Man 3.
yeah, I'm just I don't, like I
Has the suit.
I think they'll
Spider-Man
show
shocked
off
the system.
something at the end credit scene, but I also just don't want them to. Hey, this villain he's not a big villain, but we could just throw him in there and then have him for a scene. I don't know. I don't really want to see that. We had that in Homecoming, and it was kind of a letdown.
And I don't know, like a character like a Scorpion or even a Shocker, like they're smaller characters, but they could be part of that Insidious 6 thing. Like it might not be a six movie, or like, I guess if you look at it, it'd be like the 7th movie would be the Insidious 6, unless you had 2 characters paired up in one movie, right?
Well, I think Scorpion for sure will be in there, just because we haven't seen him in the suit
Right,
yet.
but he would probably have a movie before that, right? But I don't know if they have a dedicated movie where Scorpion's the villain. I don't think you need to, right? Like you can just have him as a side villain.
He'd be a goon.
Yeah, in another movie with like even Vulture comes back or whatever it is.
Maybe that's when they bring back Shocker, and this time he actually has the suit. I'd be so down if
That'd
they
be
said
really
we're bringing
cool.
him back, but this time he's
They
fully
redeemed him.
geared up.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I'd be down for it.
That'd
I
be
don't
cool.
want the fucking power gloves or whatever. Just
No,
Yeah,
for
it was
sure.
a little lackluster. What is Donald Glover's character again?
He's Miles' uncle, the Prowler.
Prowler.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think he'll be in this movie just because they're not in New York. I think most of I think that's why we won't see Vulture. We won't see
good point.
Prowler. That's why there's just certain characters like I don't know how we'll see Peter's teacher. Well, I guess maybe the teachers will be on field trips and whatnot. But
yeah.
I think they'll be saving Glover, but he you know
Yeah,
we
I just kind of.
I don't
forgot
think he'd
who
be
he
in the
was supposed to
6th though. The Prowler. He seems like he's a pretty nice. I don't even know if he's gonna become the Prowler in the MCU to be honest.
Just that character.
be. I'd be down for
Yeah.
it. I know.
they-
I know Taylor would be down for it. He got
They'll
that
never
Prowler
top that
love.
Spider-Verse Prowler though. That score.
Taylor, I think your mic's off.
Your mic's off.
Well, I love the Prowler. That'd be sick. That score. Oh.
Thanks, Taylor.
I just quickly on like the Scorpion. I'm actually really excited to see him like in one of these movies because
I want
he's
that
out
suit.
there. Yeah, exactly. I want to see what they do with the suit and just the way that Marvel's handling these MCU movies. I can picture just an awesome suit, kind of like what Thanos' armor looked like. Like it's nothing too like extravagant, but it looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back to your second question, character I really want to see, I'd probably. I mean, if we weren't getting Mysterio, I would definitely say Mysterio.
Oh, yeah.
But probably Hobgoblin. I think I'd have to agree with Dylan. The only reason I don't want to jump with Green Goblin right away is because we already saw it in the Toby series. Jeez, I can't even say his name.
Raimi.
Yeah, Raimi.
And he was in the Amazing one too, as well. Amazing Spider-Man 2. He was in there, Green Goblin.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I finished that movie.
You didn't.
No.
You should. There's a big. Do you know what even happens at like the very end between Peter and Gwen Stacy?
I know she.
Gets-
Spoiler
She
alert.
bites the dust. Yeah.
There you go. She dies.
Yeah.
She does
But,
more bite the dust.
But yeah, no, I didn't know that actually. Maybe I should jump back in. Is it worth it?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's worth it to see it, but it's not great. It's not a good look. They did the more ultimate Goblin route. He's not big, but he's like Goblin-like, and it's
That's
very
really strange.
unfortunate.
I'll give you another reason. Electro.
Electro's
I've
not good.
I've seen that part. It's
No.
not the best. But yeah, no, Hobgoblin is just a character that I've only seen in I guess the animated series and in comic books briefly. I haven't really like seen much of those series of comics, but he's just such an interesting character to me. I'm a big fan of just the goblins in Spider-Man. The gliders are so sick, and the pumpkin bombs, and I just think Hobgoblin's look is just a lot more. I don't know. I want to say menacing than Green Goblin's just because I haven't seen it that much. Kind of like, I don't know. I've already seen Green Goblin, and it was a different interpretation than what they kind of have usually because they have Willem Dafoe looking all next-gen armor-like.
Oh, yeah.
Which is cool. But, like, for me, I want to see an actual, like, goblin with the hood flying around New York. So, yeah, that's definitely my most wanted villain after Mysterio, since we're getting Mysterio. Just
Yeah.
reminding myself how excited I am for Far From
A
Home.
few days.
Taylor, any villains teased, and who do you want?
The lizard. Just kidding, not the lizard. I
Why
think
not? That'd be cool. He could be one of the teachers that goes on the trip with them.
I'm a little.
He doesn't need to turn into a lizard, but they could at least like introduce him or something.
Oh, they could introduce him for sure, but I'm a little. I wasn't a big fan of him in the Amazing
No,
Spider-Man.
He sucks, but that's not a good interpretation.
He can kind of be like a father figure, somewhat at times.
Father
Classic
figure,
Spider-Man.
If they interpret it or go down the route like, oh yeah, there's all these people complaining about I saw alligators in the sewer and stuff like that, like the Spider-Man games. I'd be down for something like
God.
that, you know.
There's
But
this one episode in the animated series where there's just like a society of lizards that you find out about. It's like, where the fuck have they been?
They did
this
that.
entire time?
They did that in the what he's referring to in the Spider-Man 3 game that was adapted from the movie. A side quest is lizard, and he has lizard people. So they did that
So
storyline.
good.
It's
You
a
can take
classic
photos of it.
story.
They have like an
It's just-
arena down in the sewers. They just like battle. it
Yeah,
out.
I don't think
Super
Feige needs to
cheesy.
tackle that one. I think he can maybe stay away from lizard for a bit.
But I definitely think we will get some kind of, foreshadow into something, whether it be villain or not. I don't know. If it is a villain, I think, that villain that we could see is I would love to have a Goblin come make another appearance. And for the longest time, I thought that James Franco's Goblin was Hobgoblin because I didn't know what Hobgoblin really was when I was a
new
kid.
Goblin. Clearly.
I never knew he was
Clearly.
New Goblin. When
The
I was
classic.
young, I'm like, oh, that must be the other Goblin, Hobgoblin. And then just like not too long ago, I was like, okay, it's actually New Goblin.
You would
so.
think they would have done that, but
Why
no.
not?
Yeah. they would.
But I definitely would love to see another Goblin with the glider, the pumpkin bombs. If William Dafoe, like his Goblin was fantastic, but if he did have a hood on him, like that'd be super sick.
He's got the cackle. He's got the nice.
Oh yeah, he's
evil
got that
look.
cackle.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'd probably pick. Again, I'd feel like I'd pick someone that would rely a lot on technology and not really have actual powers, because they have a lot of that kind of tech kind of in the universe that villains are tapping into. So I was just trying to think someone that could do it.
Certain
and
Dr. Octopus.
That's my other thought I would go with is probably Dr. Octopus and something like that. But how they would do it, I have no idea because, again, with Vulture, they kind of made him not really a father figure at all, but they made him kind of like a... he's got a mutual respect for Spider-Man. So, and then Mysterio, they're going for the father figure kind of route. They can only do the father figure route so many times
I
because in
disagree.
Spider-Man
they
2,
do that every time.
in Spider-Man 2, well, I guess in the original Spider-Man they did it again.
yeah.
With William
That's
Dafoe
like
and
Spider-Man's
Doc Ock.
go-to is someone's close to him turns bad, and like, oh no, like that's that's why I am kind of pulling for Hobby a bit, because he's just like a crazy criminal who's bumps into him.
I think
so-
Octopus could pop up in like the university years for Parker.
University.
Yeah.
But I don't think.
Well, that's
I
where
don't
I
think at
kind of
this point
thought
in time.
Lizard would kind of pop up. Would be University, kind of going with the
Yeah,
Sam Raimi.
They could
See,
both.
that's-
Could be a really corrupt university.
That's a great end credit scene though for Spider-Man 3. Him going to college and he sits down in class and
That would be a
it's
great idea.
Doc Ock, like
Yeah.
oh,
Very
simple.
I'm Otto Octavius, and or
That'd be
whether it's
sweet.
oh I'm Kirk Connors. That'd be a cool way
Yeah,
to tease what's
that'd be
next.
sweet.
So
It could be like mutual. It'd be like, "Hi, I'm your teacher, Otto Octavius," and then
buddy
my
Kirk Connors.
student teacher is Kirk Connors here,
Yeah.
something like that.
Damn.
And here's her sub teacher Hobgoblin. no name, just Hobgoblin. Yeah, I think we will. I think, like Dylan said, it's tough because will they play it off as the closing chapter of all these movies, or is it going to set up something? I think they will, just because Endgame didn't really set much up. I think it could be something as small as how Scorpion was introduced. He was just introduced as Matt Gargan, and he has a scorpion tattoo on his neck. Like some sign, be like, oh, this guy or this. Even then, if it is, because everyone keeps talking about that building that got sold, even if that says Oscorp on it, then we know, okay, clearly that's what's coming. As far as who I want, of course I want Storm and Norman. Nora Osborn's my probably my second favorite Marvel villain behind. It's tough. Him and Loki are tied. Magneto's number one, but I love him. He's my favorite Spider-Man one. But I feel that they're going to introduce him slowly, and he will just be businessman Norman. I as well would say Hobgoblin, so to change it up, I would go with Kraven, just because there wouldn't be that father-son relationship with a man just purely hunting Spider-Man for sport. I don't think they will go that route, just because he feels, like, I hate to say it, he feels just pretty small for the MCU.
Kraven?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But they could do like Spider-Man even farther from home, and then he's like out in Russia.
in Africa.
Yeah.
He's going to, he's going to visit T'Challa.
He's just traveling the
right?
world.
Yeah, no, he's going to visit T'Challa, and all of a sudden Kraven. But no, I just think in phase 1 to 3. But after we had Thanos and like that Endgame battle, it's tough for me to imagine this man who's a has just cheetah robes on. Like I want it
it's
just 'cause
tricky.
I like that storyline. I just think even especially with Spider-Man's tech now that he has, I think he could take out Kraven. So which sucks because I like that storyline. So, and even then Hobgoblin, I've always felt that they don't want to go with him because they're like, oh, people won't understand him. So I really don't know. I would love obviously to get some Kingpin in there. I doubt it would be the Daredevil one, but yeah, I guess I would go Hobgoblin, but Craven would be my wish. So
Yeah, the other one that I was kind of thinking, similar to the lines of Craven, was this is totally just like personally, I love this character, but Rhino.
A real Rhino.
Yeah, a real
Oh, God,
Rhino.
not Amazing Spider-Man.
No, definitely not. But he's just so simple. He's basically just the Juggernaut. Like he just runs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like he's no evil genius. There's
He's
usually
a
a guy.
must to have on the Sinister
yeah.
6. We
Yeah.
gotta get him on there.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, you need that big beefy guy, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
need the tank.
Exactly, and like he's not pulling the strings, but he's just
No.
he's doing the
He's very
the dirty
stupid.
work. So
Yeah. And that's good.
Busting
thing.
through walls.
Spider-Man has so many good villains. You know, even the lower tier ones. Like even let's get some Chameleon in
What
there.
about
you know.
Deadpool?
Oh, yeah,
What if he
Chameleon.
came in as a villain?
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, Feige,
That'd be crazy,
Feige like
honestly.
tried to
Imagine
talk away, be like, "Oh, there's no plans for that." But we got some other rumors talking about later, so I don't know. I don't know if he would be the villain, but a team up could happen, and then the villain could be.
He could
anybody.
start as a villain and then they realize that
Yeah.
he's not actually. He kills a lot of
A
people.
reverse
He kills a
Mysterio?
lot more people than Spider-Man does.
Oh yeah.
So you don't think we're gonna get like the way Feige's going? We're gonna get Otto Octavius with a big octopus tattoo on his neck or
Oh
something. Like
God!
No, on
All
his
the
forehead
villains.
it'll say octopus.
octopus, yeah.
Or scientist,
Damaged octopus.
Yeah.
Calamari.
I think Doc Ock is honestly really likely because it's been a long time. Amazing Spider-Man did the Goblin
Yeah.
again, so that's why they might want to wait. I
The
just
video
think,
game had him as a main villain, but
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if they care about that.
Yeah, I think just Norman is just the sexy pick. I think they want to do that, so we'll see. I'm happy either way. There's no like even if it was a spot, even if it was as long as it's not Spider Slayers, I'm happy with anybody.
Oh yeah,
Are
they
we
have so many.
talking-
Morbius, give us Morbius.
we talking.
we can't because Jared Leto. You
You
know,
can
he's
still
doing-
do it.
Yeah.
So Norman on the
Or Venom.
glider, or Norman in the bed with his pointy fingernails?
No, I think he would be. I don't know because MCU's not had a villain like Norman. I'm trying to think of somebody that built up to become a villain because Loki started that and he was around. I would think somebody that was just kind of around for a little bit. He's a businessman, whatnot, and maybe that he's friends with Harry. He meets his dad. I think you would build.
Yeah.
I think we'd meet Norman and you wouldn't see Goblin for a while. So that's why I actually think in Spider-Man 3, Norman could be in it, but then there'll be another villain on top of that, you know? Or maybe they kind of make him the new Kingpin in a way, like he's behind the scenes, and maybe he creates your Scorpion, your Rhino, stuff like that.
What's the Hawaiian guy's name? Who's Peter? Friends with Peter. I can't remember his name.
Ned?
Ned, yeah.
Yeah.
What if it was one of those like things where like MJ they didn't actually show like say what her name was, and you don't know till the very end, and Ned is like, yeah, my friends call me Harry, and you know his dad is actually.
First of all, that's definitely getting a big negative con for me. Second of all, he plays a character named Norman Leeds, who actually becomes the Hobgoblin at one point in the comic books. I don't think he will. He wasn't the real Hobgoblin. The real Hobgoblin hypnotized this man named Norman Leeds, and then he became
Oh,
Hobgoblin.
yes.
So he is that character. I just don't think, no disrespect, I don't think that actor is strong enough to pull off that role, and you know, I feel like they like their villains to be big and, you know, like really muscly and whatnot. And so unless they do Ultimate
He could
Goblin.
transform.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening, but
All you need is like in the original Spider-Man, you just get that Goblin gas, and you know you're good to
yeah,
go.
that's true. Yeah.